The groom kisses his beautiful bride, but now this husband and wife are dead, brutally murdered in the very home where they were married.
The question that comes to mind is, why now?
Yeah.
Why so far after the divorce? She's apparently moved on. She's got a family now. Why now? And how did he get in?
No signs of forced entry.
A surgeon turned alleged killer walking into an Illinois courtroom cuffed in a jail jumpsuit, now accused of a horrific crime.
They say every story has a beginning, but Monique Teppe's story did not begin with death. It began with survival. She was in her late 40s when the world finally seemed quiet again. The kind of quiet that comes only after storms, after arguments, after divorce papers signed with shaking hands, after nights spent convincing yourself that leaving was not failure, but courage. Monique was a mother first, always a mother first. She measured time not in years, but in school schedules, holidays, and phone calls that started with, "Are you home safe?" She had lived enough life to know that love was not supposed to hurt all the time. From the outside, her life looked ordinary, Midwestern, stable, the kind of life that never makes headlines. But ordinary lives carry extraordinary weight. There had been a marriage before Spencer, a marriage that began with promise and ended with fear disguised as familiarity. A marriage that taught Monique how slowly control can tighten until it feels normal. By the time she left, she believed the worst chapter was behind her. She believed wrong. Still, she tried to live forward. She rebuilt. She laughed again. She allowed herself to hope, carefully, cautiously, like someone testing ice after a long winter. Friends saw her smiling again. Family heard relief in her voice. Even her posture changed. Shoulders no longer curled inward as if bracing for impact. This was the version of Monique who believed she had earned peace. If you believe silence protects the wrong people, then stay, subscribe, like, comment, share. Because truth only survives when it's carried. She had no idea how urgently that truth would soon be needed. Michael David McKee was not a monster in the beginning. That is the part people struggle with most. He was once a husband, once a presence in family photos, once someone Monique believed would stand beside her through life's worst days. But control rarely announces itself loudly. It arrives quietly, wrapped in concern, disguised as protection. It starts with questions. Where are you going? Who will be there? Then comes correction. You're remembering that wrong. You're too sensitive. By the time anger shows its face, it has already been justified 100 times over. Monique learned to read moods the way sailors read weather. She learned when to speak and when silence was safer. She learned that love could exist alongside fear, and that combination was dangerous. When the marriage ended, she believed the danger ended with it. But divorce does not erase entitlement. It does not always dissolve obsession. According to those who knew them, Michael struggled with the loss, not just of the marriage, but of control. The separation did not feel mutual. It felt, to him, like something taken. Monique felt it in the way conversations never fully ended, in the way boundaries were questioned, in the tension that lingered long after legal papers were signed. Still, she chose to move forward. She chose not to live afraid. That choice would later be scrutinized by strangers who never knew the cost of staying. Spencer Teppe entered Monique's life quietly. No chaos, no fireworks, just steadiness. He listened. He showed up. He respected the parts of her that were still healing. Their relationship was not built on urgency, but on patience, the kind of love that does not demand explanation or proof, the kind that feels safe enough to breathe. When they married, it felt like a second chance, not at youth, but at peace. But second chances can provoke first resentments. Blended families come with complexities, former lives overlap, old wounds resurface, and not everyone celebrates your happiness. Somewhere beneath the surface, tension simmered. Friends noticed it, family felt it. But fear is easy to minimize when life finally feels good. Monique chose joy. That choice, too, would later be questioned. The night Monique and Spencer were killed did not begin with screaming. It began like any other night. Lights on, doors closed, lives mid-sentence. Then came the gunshots. According to investigators, both Monique Tepe and her husband Spencer were shot and killed. The stillness that followed was not peace, it was absence. Phones rang unanswered, messages went unread. Time moved forward while their lives stopped. Police tapes stretched across what had once been home. Neighbors stood in clusters, whispering the words no one wants to believe. A former husband. An arrest. Charges filed. Michael David McKee was taken into custody and charged in connection with the killings. In a matter of hours, Monique's life was reduced to evidence, timelines, and photographs taken from angles she would never recognize. This was not a crime story. This was a human collapse. Justice does not arrive with certainty, it arrives with paperwork. Court filings replaced conversations. Prosecutors spoke in careful language. Defense attorneys asked questions that reopened wounds. The truth moved slowly. Loved ones sat in silence as details emerged. Not speculation, but facts presented piece by piece. Each revelation heavy, each hearing another reminder that death does not end suffering. Michael McKee was accused. The case moved forward, and Monique's life, her choices, her divorce, her remarriage were examined as if love itself were on trial. This was the breaking point, the moment where grief met resolve. Public tragedy invites public opinion. Strangers debated Monique's decisions. Online comments dissected her life as if hindsight were wisdom. Some asked why she didn't leave sooner. Others asked why she remarried at all. Victimhood became conditional. Her family felt it in the silence of acquaintances who didn't know what to say, in the avoidance, in the exhaustion of defending someone who should never have needed defending. But within that isolation, something hardened, not bitterness, but clarity. They would not allow her story to be rewritten by cruelty. Monique Tepe did not survive, but her truth did. As the legal process continued, her family chose remembrance over fear, advocacy over silence, truth over comfort. Justice, they learned, is not only a verdict, it is refusing to let violence define the narrative.